NASA is currently sending a $5 billion spacecraft to chase a ghost. It sounds weird, but this is actually the bitter truth. Those famous water plumes on Jupiter's moon Europa might have never existed at all. For the last 10 years, everything we believed was based on a tiny mistake involving just 2 pixels. Think about it. We're spending as much as a country's whole budget to find a computer screen mirage. We all used to think water from the huge ocean hidden under Europa's ice was spraying into space. Scientists said these plumes were the easiest way to find alien life. Because we wouldn't need to drill through the ice, we could just fly by and grab a sample. But new research from 2026 just killed that beautiful dream in a heartbeat. Lawrence Rock and his team were shocked when they rechecked 14 years of Hubble telescope data. It turns out what we thought were water plumes was actually just a thin hydrogen haze around Europa. The biggest shock came when they saw that Europa's image wasn't even lined up right on the telescope's sensor. If you shift the image just 2 pixels left or right, those supposed water plumes just vanish. It's exactly like your phone's GPS losing signal and showing you the wrong road on a New Jersey highway. Honestly, I don't know why we didn't catch this mistake for so long. Maybe we were just so desperate to find alien life that we ignored the flaws in the data. You have to remember that when we look at Europa through Hubble, it looks like a fuzzy ball of just a few pixels. At that scale, a 1 pixel error means a difference of hundreds of miles. Scientists called these plumes Lyman alpha emissions. In simple terms, these were just ultraviolet light flashes that prove hydrogen is there. When these flashes were first seen in 2013, the whole world got excited. They said huge water jets were shooting up 125 miles into space from Europa's south pole. But the problem is, every time scientists tried to look at that same spot again, with Hubble, they saw nothing. Those plumes just disappeared like magic after that first sighting. So if you think science is always perfect math, no, it's actually about finding the right path through many mistakes. This new 2026 study says there is actually a permanent hydrogen shell, or exosphere, around Europa. This exosphere is so thin that when Hubble took pictures, that haze looked like plumes. Think about looking at a flashlight through the fog from a distance. Sometimes it can look like a water jet. This is exactly what happened with Europa, and it was combined with that 2 pixel positioning error. But there's a huge irony here that's making us think now. If the plumes don't exist, then why is NASA sending such a huge mission? The Europa Clipper spacecraft is in space right now and will get there in 2030. It has very expensive tools inside specifically designed to test the water from those plumes. Now the question is, if there are no plumes at all, what will Clipper do? Does this mean all our money just went down the drain? Or rather, was it just wasted in space? No, it's not quite like that. Europa Clipper can do many other things, like measuring the ice thickness or seeing if the ocean has salt. But with no water plumes, finding life just got thousands of times harder. It's as disappointing as getting to a huge Walmart sale late and seeing nothing but empty shelves. I know this news might feel like a real letdown to many people, but science teaches us that we have to accept the truth, no matter how bitter it is. Another study by Dr. Quick and Hedman was giving us the same signals, but we ignored them until now. They built a math model to measure the dust deposits left by plumes on Europa's surface. According to the model, if those plumes were real, there should be snow piles several feet thick near the cracks. But none of the pictures from the Galileo spacecraft showed any of those ice piles. This means those supposed giant geysers on Europa are either very small or they're just vapor. Vapor plumes mean there's no ice or dust, so they don't leave any marks behind, just smoke, no ashes. But data from the Hubble telescope says the chance of vapor plumes is also very low now. The whole thing has turned into a massive gamble. We're betting on the Clipper mission, hoping that maybe we're wrong and some tiny plumes are still there. Maybe Europa doesn't always spray water, but only at certain times. Or maybe what we're calling a 2-pixel error was actually the truth. Although the new study says that chance is less than 10%. I have a weird feeling about this whole thing myself. Scientists are now saying those plumes were just a 10-year mirage. I know, it might sound like science just lost, but remember, admitting mistakes is what real science is all about. If we didn't admit our mistakes, we might never reach the bottom of that ocean. We'll know the truth when the high-resolution cameras on Europa Clipper, like EIS, start sending back pictures. Until then, we just have to live with this uncertainty. We know for sure that a whole ocean is still hiding under Europa's icy shell. At least, that's what the math tells us. The chance of life there hasn't evaporated like the plumes did. It just means we have to choose a much harder path to get to that ocean now. Maybe one day, we'll actually have to build a machine to drill through miles of thick ice. The shortcut to finding life might have just been closed for good today. Why do you think scientists made such a huge mistake? Or did NASA just not want to break that dream? Maybe those plumes were just a $5 billion PR stunt? This whole story of Lyman alpha and pixels is a big lesson for all of us. Sometimes our eyes show us what we want to see instead of the actual truth. Europa is still one of the most mysterious places in space. Whether the plumes are there or not, we're not giving up on it. We have to wait until 2030 to find out the real truth. Until then, this pixel era story will remind us how huge space is and how little we actually know. We might be chasing a ghost, but maybe that ghost will change us one day.